Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us in this info session about the New Perspectives Japan program. My name is Gabriel Rebeck. I'm with Laurasian Institution, and today we'd like to share some details with you about the New Perspectives Japan program and specifically the study tour for summer 2022. I would like to share some details about the program, kind of what you can expect. This is intended for teachers, for parents, for families, for students, anybody that would like a little bit of extra information about New Perspectives Japan and what we have in mind for summer of 2022. This is your place. We're happy to share some information with you today. As I said, my name is Gabriel Rebeck. I'm with Laurasian Institution. Laurasian has been doing these study trips for just about 30 years now. We have a lot of experience and we have a lot of confidence in our ability to put together trips like this. I am joined by my colleague, Samantha Corpus. Sam?
Hi there, everyone. My name is Samantha Corpus. I am the program assistant for New Perspectives Japan, or NPJ. I'm very happy that you're interested in NPJ and look forward to perhaps hearing from you any questions that you might have. So thank you.
Anybody that gets in touch with Laurasian to ask about NPJ, details about the program, that kind of thing, most likely you will speak to either myself or Samantha. So it's very nice to meet you, and we look forward to the chance to meet you directly sometime in the future. Also today, we are joined by a very special guest, Ann Jordan, who is the president of the American Association of Teachers of Japanese, AATJ. She's also our J-LEAP program lead trainer. And so she's going to share a little bit of information about homestays in particular and the academic benefit of experiencing something like that. We'll speak with her just a little bit later in the program, but first I'd like to start sharing some specific details about NPJ Summer 2022. So the tours, we have 2 tours each summer, and this summer the dates are the dates that you can see on the screen there. You can choose whichever day, whichever tour fits your schedule better. The tour itself kind of breaks down into 3 different pieces. So before the tour, teachers and students will choose one of our proprietary curriculums, which teach about a specific area of Japanese culture. And the teachers can go through that information with the students before they even set foot in Japan and start the educational process before the tour. Then, of course, comes the tour itself. In summer, they travel to Japan, and that's where they finally get to see everything right before their eyes. They see everything that they've been learning about, everything they've been studying about. It comes alive. And then following the tour, we have some follow-on activities that help them to sort of think critically about the things that they've seen on the tour and really kind of complete the academic process of this tour, making it an educational program as opposed to just a vacation. That's what we pride this New Perspectives Japan tour on, is being a truly educational experience and not simply just a trip to Japan. If you want to go to Japan, buy a ticket, you go, you eat your ramen, it's fine. If you go with New Perspectives Japan, you get a truly educational experience. The cost of the program is $4,175 per student if they are with a group, that is with a lead teacher, and they sign up with us together as a group. If students want to sign up unaffiliated, just on their own, they can contact us directly and sign up as an unaffiliated student, or a Ronin, a samurai without a master. We'll put them together with a group and a chaperone. We'll talk just a little bit more about that a little bit later in the program. Scholarships are available for up to half of the total program price, and scholarship decisions are made based on financial need and academic merit. The application for scholarships is together with the application on the application portal, and so that's how you find that. It's pretty simple on our website. Applications are due on January 30th, 2022. This is later than we typically set the application deadline because we want to give people a lot of time to think about whether or not this is right for them this year. We understand that there's uncertainties with summer 2022, and so we want to give you as much time to think about whether or not this is right for you this year. With the NPJ program, you get comprehensive support. Laurasian Institution staff are available on the US side. We also have our Tokyo office on the Japan side, bilingual staff in the US and Japan to provide support before, during, and after the tour, specifically for the teachers and the groups. In addition to that, there's a 24/7 emergency line for the parents if anything comes up while their students are in Japan and they need to get in touch with us, that kind of thing. Laurasian staff are with the groups at all times. We're always there for emergencies. No matter what happens, we're there. And we're also there for everything up to, before the program starts as well, meaning if the program needs to be canceled for any particular reason, Laurasian will handle all of the contingencies. We'll deal with the communication canceling with the schools, the hotels, the airlines, all of that stuff to ensure refunds for everybody. Because that is indeed our policy. If a Laurasian institution has to cancel the tour for any reason, then everybody will be entitled to a full refund or the ability to defer to the next year, 2023, if that's what they choose to go with. At the current moment, there is a long quarantine being required for anybody entering into Japan. Luckily, it's been bumped down from 14 days down to 10 days at the time that we are recording this session on September 30th. We anticipate that quarantine will be shortened to 0. That's currently what the Keidanren, which is the sort of business focused group within the Japanese government. They represent Japanese businesses and try to keep the economy running. They are advocating for 0 quarantine for vaccinated individuals entering into Japan, and that's what we anticipate being the case by summer of 2022. However, that being said, if there is still a long quarantine at the time of the tour, we will cancel the tour. It's impossible to have a tour if everybody's got to be locked up in a hotel room for 10 days, and everybody will be entitled to a full refund at that time. No teacher, no student, no chaperone, nobody will be allowed onto the program if they test positive for COVID-19. Regulations are going to change between now and summer 2022. It's definitely an ever-changing situation, and whatever policies are in place at that time, it will be our obligation to be in strict compliance. And by nature of that, we anticipate that we can keep this tour safe for everybody to participate in. At minimum, we expect all participants and staff to wear masks when they're at their host schools, traveling in public in Japan. They're going to feel right at home because everybody else will be wearing masks over there anyway. So you won't feel too strange about it. Currently, the Japanese government is requiring negative PCR tests within 72 hours of departure or boarding flights to Japan. And as long as that requirement is in place, we expect all participants to comply. Additionally, COVID-19 vaccines are required for entry into Japan from the Japanese government. That's not specifically a requirement from us. That is a requirement from the Japanese government. Therefore, we do expect that everybody will comply with that regulation and any other regulations that the Japanese government has laid out at the time of the tour. Our president and CEO, Bradley Smith, he is based in both Tokyo and New York. He has traveled back and forth between the US and Japan. I've lost count, upwards of 12 or 13 times since the start of the pandemic. And he's well aware of the entry procedures and how it's looking as far as entering into Japan. He and of course the rest of the Laurasian institution will continue to monitor the situation and keep on top of any kind of requirements to communicate those to the teachers and families at the appropriate time. So anybody that's interested, please, you can check our website, or probably best would be to follow us on social media to get any updates about the tour. That's the best way to get news from us. We'll share those social media links closer to the end. But as for the tour itself, it's a lot of fun. The students get to actually do some sightseeing when they arrive in Japan. They hang around Tokyo for a little while. They explore the Tokyo area. Teachers can personalize the itinerary, and they can sort of choose what it is that they want to see while they're there in Tokyo. And then they all sort of disperse to different areas of Japan for the homestays. And that's the point where students get to experience going to a Japanese school, staying with a Japanese family, basically experience Japanese life. And that, again, is something that you can't get by just going and booking a hotel in Tokyo for 2 weeks. You're not going to get that flavor of Japanese life. In just a moment, Ann Jordan's going to tell you a little bit more about that homestay experience and how educationally impactful that is. After the homestay and school experience, they then move on to the Kyoto area and explore Kyoto, and then return back to the United States via Kansai International Airport. It's a quick 2 weeks. You blink and you miss it, but man, it's an incredible experience. particularly the homestay. And that's why we've asked Ann Jordan, as I mentioned earlier, she's the president of the American Association of Teachers of Japanese, to talk just a little bit about the educational component of this homestay experience. Ann?
Hello, yes. So I'm Ann Jordan. As a longtime high school teacher of Japanese, I really can't say enough about the benefits of travel study to Japan, not just for students, but for program advocacy. And these past 2 years, not being able to provide this experience for students, I know has been really hard. It's been a huge loss, but I really feel hopeful. I remain hopeful that these are going to be back in the summer of 2022. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. There's just no comparison for the kind of experience that gives students the opportunity to apply their language skills and their cultural knowledge in the most authentic setting possible, which would be Japan. It motivates students, it challenges them, it helps them to grow personally in so many ways. So often it's this experience in Japan, outside of the classroom, outside of their home countries, staying with a family, that sparks something that sets a course for students' futures. I've seen it happen many, many times. I made trips to Japan with students over the years, many of them, many years, and almost all of them had a homestay slash school experience component. But I also took a couple of trips that didn't have those. So I know both, and I can tell you that the difference between the two is, it's like the difference between being a spectator sitting in the stands watching the game and being a participant on the field kicking the ball. They're both enjoyable. They both have benefits, but that trip to Japan that has a homestay and a school experience component is just so much richer, so much more impactful. And so given the choice, I would always choose one that had those two elements. However, trying to plan that, trying to coordinate, trying to make all the contacts, shouldering all of the responsibility for the logistics and everything else is really stressful and difficult for an individual teacher, especially now during these really uncertain times. So I would advise anybody who is looking to take students to Japan to work with an organization that can take that burden off of your shoulders, that has a proven track record, and people that you would be working with who are professional and pleasant and fun to work with, and who have some understanding of Japanese language education. A few organizations do fall under those, fit those boxes, and I would say NPJ is definitely one of the organizations that checks all those boxes. So I wish you happy traveling, and I'm hoping that summer of 2022 is going to have lots of American, students from the US traveling again to Japan and staying with families and experiencing Japanese school life. And as I look at these photos on the screen, I'm thinking, I really want to go back. It's been since March 2020. So Gabe, can I just, stow away? Can I go with you?
Well, gosh, yeah, just go to npj.laurasian.org. Feel free to sign up. You can be an unaffiliated student if you like. We'll put you with another chaperone.
Okay.
But thank you so much. I like that comparison to sort of like being a spectator on the stands versus actually participating in the game. That idea of not just studying about the culture, but participating in the culture. I think that makes this such a rich experience that, I can speak to specifically myself because I did my first homestay when I was in high school. I'm still in contact with the host family to this day, and definitely made a lifelong impact on me. Yeah, the homestays themselves, they can be with families from the school, the host school that they're going to be with. They might have host brothers and sisters. It might just be a community member. Sometimes they're really interesting folks that the students get paired up with. No matter what, it's going to be an impactful experience. That's for sure. Sometimes students are placed together. There'll be two students in one home, and sometimes those kids, they just have a blast, experiencing this thing together. They can laugh and joke about it. Yeah, basically the students will become a family member. It's the difference between like I said, watching from the stands versus actually playing in the game. So can't understate how great this is as far as an opportunity for Japanese language and cultural immersion. Outside of the homestays, students will also be staying at first the Olympic Center in Tokyo and then the Kyoto Tokyu Hotel in Kyoto for those two sightseeing portions of the trip. And those accommodations are all fully covered by the program costs. So the program fees, they cover first and foremost, the airfare that's totally covered by the program, all the accommodations, all the travel. Most of the sightseeing, there are a couple of exceptions, such as the Ghibli Museum, Tokyo Skytree, which have slightly higher admittance fees. And so we do ask students to pay for those. But basically, this is an all-inclusive package. Everything is essentially included in that program fee. The couple of little things that are not included in that program fee are so like your transportation to the airport in the US, lunches, snacks, that kind of thing. If during the homestay portion, the student goes out to dinner with the host family, they should at least be prepared to pay for their own meal. Sometimes the host families offer to pay, but the students should certainly be prepared to pay for those. If you lose your IC card, there's a little charge associated with getting one of those, a couple of little things like that. But again, like I said, this is designed to be an all-inclusive package. There should be very few other costs outside of the program fee. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are a teacher and you just can't take a group this year, or you are a parent and you do not have a Japanese program at your school, or they're not taking a group this year and you want to send your student anyway, students can sign up with us as unaffiliated or Ronin, samurai without a master. It's a great solution for students that don't have another group to join. We will, like I said earlier, put you in another group. So they will still have a lead teacher. They'll still have a chaperone. And they'll still get basically the full experience, but they don't need to have a group. We'll give them a group. Those families are encouraged just to contact us directly. You can go to the website and students can sign up, and we'll put you in a group, and yeah, you can still get the full NPJ experience, even if you don't have a school to go with. So if after hearing all of this, you want to apply, what you do is go to npj.laurasian.org. And if you really do want to apply, that's where you go. That's where lead teachers, students, chaperones, that's the same link for everybody. You go to that application portal and everything is pretty clear from there. There's letter of understanding and other kind of documents that are pretty clear, I think, if you just go to that website and start the application on there. We do ask for a deposit upon application into the program of $395, and the check can be mailed to Laurasian Institution office in Seattle. We do have the address on the website for anybody that's interested. Scholarship announcements are made in mid to late February because the application deadline is at the end of January. We wanted to push that application deadline back so that people had time. But because of that, we have to take a little bit more time before we can make those scholarship announcements too. So thank you very much for your understanding on that. The 100% refund deadline, you can get a full refund for your application up to February 28th. Like I said, if Laurasian is forced to cancel the program, then you'll receive a full refund at that point. But if you choose to pull out, February 28th is the deadline for receiving a full refund. And then in addition to that, npj.laurasian.org, if you want to just follow us to see some of those program updates, cool content related to Japan, pictures, we got food, we got Japanese words, vocabulary building, that kind of stuff. Follow us on social media. We got all sorts of fun stuff on there. Please check it out. There are the links. Additionally, if you want to look at the slideshow for this presentation that we're giving right now, you can find that in the description, find the link and download the slideshow. We will also link to all of these social media accounts down there as well. So we look forward to sharing our fun information with you on there, and hope you follow us. Yeah, because we are cautiously optimistic that summer 2022 is going to be a great year for NPJ. We're not going to force this if it's not going to be truly safe or feasible to happen this year, just as we canceled the last 2 years. We're not going to force it if it's not going to be feasible for this year. You can trust Laurasian Institution to handle all of the contingencies. As I said near the beginning, we've been doing this for 29 years, just about 30 at this point. We've gotten pretty good at it. We got good relationships with the airlines, with the travel agencies, and we can definitely take on all of the burden of canceling all of this stuff if it's just not going to work for summer 2022. Like I said, though, we all really hope it's going to be possible. We think at this point that it is. We've had some good conversations with the schools on the Japan side, with the airlines, all of those folks, and everybody is really looking forward to getting some American students back in Japan to start building those relationships. That's what we're all about, these grassroots level relationships between people from the US and people from Japan. The US-Japan relationship is built on those relationships, those friendships that we make. We truly believe that, and we truly want to support that. After this time that we've had to sort of, close our doors and go inside for a while, we're really looking forward to this time when we can get back, start making those connections again, and building those friendships and connections. Laurasian Institution wants to be your ticket back to Japan. So everybody, thank you very much for your time today. Parents, if you have questions, I encourage you to contact lead teachers. They should be able to answer whatever kind of questions that you have. Lead teachers, if you have questions, please feel free to contact us. We love to hear from you. We love to find out what you're thinking about, and share any kind of information that we have to share with you. So we thank you again for your time. Anne, Sam, thank you very much for joining me. Parents, teachers, students, everybody, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you in summer 2022. Arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much.